Alright, you guys, so today we're going to do Casey Prep for writing applications. So we're going to go over ways to basically improve our writing, organize our thoughts, and so that way we actually get good scores on the essay writing. First off, I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of what each kind of essay that they ask you is entails, basically the details, so that way you guys can get an idea of how to write each particular essay. And then we're gonna go over the rubric, so that way we can see what the score of a 4 is, what the score of a 3, 2, 1, or a no score, which is not gonna happen because you guys can write, obviously. Okay, so the first one is the biographical narrative. Do you guys have any idea what this is?
About you? Bio or something?
It's about people, yes, of course. But anything like
People's stories, like the most important thing they
Yeah.
go through life.
some of abbreviation. So people's stories. Yes, so that's basically what it is. You're writing an essay about a real person who is important to you, basically. So people's stories, important stories regarding them. Okay? So typically,
Do you write that?
if you want to, just so that you guys can know what each one is kind of going to ask you. So again, biographical narrative, it's regarding people, important stories. There's a reason why they're asking you about this particular person, or they're going to be asking you to write about a particular person. Typically, a biographical narrative would be about someone that's impacted your life in some way or another, a teacher, a doctor, an aunt, an uncle, a mom, your sister, your older brother, something along those lines. Those are biographical narratives. Typically, you're writing about them because they hold an important part of your life. Or, you might even choose to write about someone in history, a past president, stuff like that. So those are usually biographical narratives. Then we have, do you guys have any questions on that? No? We have, it's called literature response. Excuse my messy writing on that. So literature response, do you guys have any idea what that is?
Like answering a question?
It's kind of, yeah, it's similar. It's kind of I like answering a question. Rodolfo, you want to add something? No? It's kind of like that. This is more of like a critical, descriptive and analytical form of responding to work. So it's basically like giving you a text. It's probably going to give you something to read, or it's going to go based off of some sort of novel that you've read in the past. A lot of teachers like using literature response essays. They really like it because because this one, biographical narrative, it's an easy essay because you know that person and you can easily write it. This one's more based on text. It's more based on factual things that you have to cite. So again, literature response is analytic. It's descriptive. And it's critical. So it's based on the text. Alright, so again, teachers love this because you have to be precise. You have to be able to talk about the information that's being given to you throughout the novel, the passage, or whatever you're using, and using it in your essay to support your argument, to support your thesis, to support whatever it is that you're trying to say. Okay? So then, we have what's called expository. Anyone have any idea what that is? This one is a little bit more analytic. Literature response, yes, you have to be analytical, but
What does that mean?
it analyze. You have to go into detail. So in expository writing, you're usually giving a really specific idea and talking about that. So it presents an area in discussion, and you obviously go into detail about it. So if you're passionate about, recycling, and that's a part of like a bigger text regarding science, then that's something you're going to focus on, and that's an expository writing essay because that's what you're focusing on, and that's what you're trying to
So
explain.
basically something like Boone or something?
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. And it's usually using facts. So you use facts to support your argument. Let's see. So again, this is like a specific idea that's under discussion. Again, something like recycling. Please, recycling is blah, 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 blah. It's not a persuasive essay. This is just more of like an explanation essay. And then we have, the fourth one we're going to be talking about, which is the persuasive essay. You guys know what a persuasive essay is, right?
Mhm. I'm good at that.
This is probably the one that is probably I don't want to say the easiest, probably the most common. Teachers love literature response and they love persuasive essays. Persuasive essays because they want to see how you can articulate your ideas. They want to see how you present a certain argument. So again, a persuasive essay is also an argumentative essay. Okay, so I guess just to jot it down, a persuasive is this point of view is correct, this point is not. And typically, it's like saying, my idea is better than yours. That's basically what a persuasive essay is, right? Because you're trying to argue against someone else. You say, I want everyone to recycle, while another person says it really doesn't make a difference. You have to be able to combat what it is that they're saying, right? And then lastly, in the cases, sometimes they're going to ask you, this might not pop up in yours, but they sometimes ask you to write business letters. You guys know how to format that?
Mhm.
Okay, so what would you put in the front, on the top?
Your mail or something, like the topic thing?
Yeah, so you're gonna put 2, and then it's like the name of the company, and then the name. Well, typically you would put
I thought that went at the bottom.
no. That's from you.
All right.
So this is 2. So to Darren Gray. I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put Mr. Gray. 'Cause I don't know if he wants me to use his first name.
No, that's his name. You burned them out. There
It's
you
really
go.
bad. So to Mr. Gray. Then you put the name of the company, which is Evans AWAC, because that's the name of the company that we're writing to, right? Then you put address, date, right? So that's the beginning. So let's just say this is the paper that goes here. Then afterwards, you would put dear, or to whom it may concern. Put that. And then you continue writing, so that would go here, right? And then you put here, you put some circle is thank you. And then what would you put here? Your information.
Wait, this is for the English cases?
Yeah.
I passed this, right?
Then what are you doing here?
Because Ms. Lopez told me to come.
Well, maybe you need, do you need help with essay writing? Because today we're doing essays, and that's why. Okay, so afterward here you would put your information. So I would put Diana. It's my name. Tehela. And then I'd put Evans, AWAC, blah blah blah, because that's my information.
You know Jonas, the head of, Eduardo, is that your brother?
No,
No?
no.
Yeah,
But yes, so this is typically a sample template for letters. All right, so in order for us to kind of get an idea of what rubric we're going to be dealing with, I gave you guys something. We're going to have to read that out loud so that way we can see exactly what they're looking for. All right, so for the first one, it says guide for a response to a writing prompt. So score of 4. The essay provides a thoughtful, well-written composition that addresses the writing task. Right in the front. Right in the front. Right in the front. So it's a score of 4. Uses specific supporting details and examples. Demonstrates a clear focus and tone. Shows coherent, logical, purposeful organization. Clearly addresses the intended audience. Uses precise, descriptive language. Uses a variety of sentence types. Contains almost no errors in grammar, punctuation, spelling, capitalization, and usage. A persuasive essay also clearly states a position and makes a case for that position. Defends the position with specific relevant evidence. Addresses the reader's potential misunderstandings, biases, and expectations. Does anyone have any questions on that? No? Alright, we're good. We're good to go. Score of 3. The essay provides a composition that addresses the writing task. Uses supporting details and examples, demonstrates a clear focus and tone, shows coherent logical organization, addresses the intended audience, uses some descriptive language, uses a variety of sentence types, contains some errors in grammar, punctuation, spelling, capitalization, and usage. These errors do not interfere with the reading and understanding of the essay. A persuasive essay also states a position and makes a case for that position. Generally, defends the position with specific relevant evidence, addresses the reader's potential misunderstandings, biases, and expectations. Then we have score of 2. The essay provides a composition that is related to the writing task, uses limited supporting details and examples, demonstrates an inconsistent focus and tone, shows little organization, occasionally addresses the intended audience, uses simple, predictable language, uses similar types of sentences, unvaried, contains several errors in grammar, punctuation, spelling, capitalization, and usage. And these errors may interfere with the reading and understanding of the essay. A persuasive essay also defends a position with little relevant evidence, may address the reader's potential misunderstandings, biases, and expectations. Alright, so then we have a score of 1. Do you guys have questions so far? I know I'm like kind of reading over it real quick, but it's because I want to go over some techniques. Then we have a score of 1. The essay may provide a weak composition that is related to the writing task, fails to use supporting details or examples, demonstrates a lack of focus and tone, shows no organization, rarely addresses the intended audience, uses a limited vocabulary, provides no sentence variety, contains serious errors in grammar, fails to defend a position with evidence, fails to address the reader's potential misunderstandings, biases, and expectations. And then again, remember how I mentioned in the beginning, non-scorable essays. Basically, if they can't understand your writing, if you're writing in another language or you're off topic, incomprehensible, that's when it's not scorable. Typically, if you stick to the prompt, the writing prompt, you should be perfectly fine. So just make sure that whenever it is that they give you the writing prompt, you dissect it as much as you can. Get an idea of what it is that you need to be writing. And then put it on the side, note it, remember it. Okay? I'm not going to read over Guide for a Response to Literary or Informational Text. I think you guys can read that on your own. Okay, so now we're going to go over the writing process and preparing for it. You guys have any techniques that you guys use to write? Yeah, a web is one. Anything else? Okay, well,
Tree map.
tree map?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in order for you to prepare to write, so this is preparing to write. There is 3 different techniques that I would suggest in the Casey because they are time efficient, I guess you could say.
What about on the GED? Are they timed?
The GED is timed. The Casey is not timed. But the reason why I'm suggesting this, because they're time efficient, is because you don't want to spend days on your essay. Plus, you only get 1 day. So technically it's not timed, but you have a limit. You have a day's limit. Okay. So let me just read over, well, today, so that way we can kind of, you know how we mentioned earlier that the biographical narrative is the one that's a little bit easier because we're going based on what you know. We're not going based on a text. We're gonna practice writing an essay by focusing on a biographical narrative. Okay? So each of you is gonna write something. I'm not gonna be too harsh on you, but we're gonna write something so that way we can kind of see how we are in regarding our essay writing and our techniques and how specific we go into detail with the prompt. Okay, so again, so just to give you a brief explanation, biographical narrative is an essay about a real person who is important to you. So to go over the checklist for writing, we have to read the task very carefully. Remember I said to dissect it. Whatever it is that they're telling you, dissect it to make sure you know what you're writing about. Don't get off task. Organize your writing by including a strong introduction, body, and conclusion. Always support your ideas. Write to your audience by using appropriate words. Use words that are appropriate for your purpose. Make sure writing interesting. Make your writing interesting to read by varying your sentences. And you guys know, check grammar. Grammar is really important. Usage, punctuation, spelling. Okay.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Why when Hamlet and Macbeth barely started, why wasn't it important for grammar, punctuation? None of that. That was all slang in there. What was that? That was the initiator of slang. That's where. But why did they start getting technical with all?
That's
why don't they just let us free write like them? And maybe some of us become poets.
But see, that's the thing though, because even to a certain extent, if you were to get into that form of art, because that is art, that form of writing is art. There's certain rules that you still have to follow, and when it comes to Shakespeare, for example, I understand that's very hard to comprehend. It's almost, you have to, again, dissect it. You have to be able to process it, right? But it was an art form. He was the one that came up with that certain art. He's Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? So if you establish yourself as someone that has that capability, as someone that has that capacity and that talent, then we would be able to be like, you know what, Edwin Poirot, right? That's your last name? He has talent, and maybe he's going to be the next Shakespeare. You see what I'm saying? Everyone has a capacity. It's just that you decide to make it or not, right? Oh, here.
Yeah, it's because I read the whole
We already ran over this. Sorry?
Because I read the whole story. Like, I was into them poets, Shakespeare, Hamlet, like...
Yes, but they still follow...
Robin.
They still follow certain pentameters and stuff like that when they write. It's not like they're just writing.
No, but at first they were. They were just writing. They were just writing
But
poets.
they do it in an artful manner. They don't just write.
It's like saying if I do this in an artful manner, but with the punctuals and everything wrong, they still gonna put NS or it's a one.
Yeah, because
that's what they did
punctuation
me a lot.
punctuation has a lot to do with the way people perceive your ideas. So if you put a comma or you put something in the wrong place, it's gonna make me understand something different than what you're trying to make me understand. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it's important, and that's why they stress it a lot when they grade your
Take
essays.
some notes, guys. This is a persuasive essay right here.
Okay, so again, we're gonna start off by brainstorming. So for brainstorming. Why don't you write about that? That's actually a good essay. Write something. Well, why is it that in the past?
No, I kind of wrote something like that when I passed my English.
But you have to support it.
No, I did it something like that, and then the people that scored my grade, they put it in this. But so then I went to my teacher and I just fought it. That's after I dropped out, and I fought it and everything. And then I went through a whole. I literally had to write another essay persuading why my first essay was a 4 or 3, whatever. Like I went through a whole lot of bullshit just for that essay because of that. Also, I'm a free bird, you feel me, man. I'm gonna speak my mind.
I know, but sometimes people will judge you on your usage of foul language
Oh, they can
because
judge all they want.
no, let me just tell you. Because when you use foul language, they think that you're limited in your terminology. They're limited in the way you can speak. So just try and keep yourself from using foul language, and people will probably respect you and think you're a little bit more, you know.
True.
Right? Am I right? Okay. So you'd rather be able to use certain words to present your ideas, so that way people are like, oh, you know, you look good. Okay, anyway, so to start brainstorming, first one, brainstorming. So we're writing a narrative, a biographical narrative. Let's choose one person. Who's one person in your life that's really important to you? One. Well, just one. Let's just choose mom, dad, sister, brother, someone. What do you guys want to write about? Okay, choose your own person. Choose your own person. But I want someone to just throw someone at me. Someone? Anyone? Mom? Okay. So we're writing about mom. For brainstorming, simple notes. So you can use simple notes for brainstorming. So by writing mom, you just start putting ideas. She is what? She is caring. Right? Loving.
A
She-
superhero.
Hmm?
A superhero.
A superhero?
That's your mom.
I completely agree. What else? She cooks well. Cooks food. No, I don't want to say cooks food. That makes it sound like that's her job.
She dances well. She's a dancer.
She's an entertainer,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
What else can we put?
She's outgoing.
Okay. Your mom is outgoing? My mom is very mellow.
My mom is outgoing.
My mom is just very chill.
Same here.
She's loving, caring, and she does everything. And she's a good entertainer, but she's not like,
Outgoing.
yeah. But anyway, so this is basically simple notes. You just write down whatever it is that you feel like your mom is, or your dad, whoever you chose. And this will give you an idea of what it is that you want to write about in your essay. Aside from that, you can also make, this is simple notes, you can make a simple chart. So in that chart, you would put mom, and then you'd put a little bit more specific
Miss
details.
Lopez is my hero. Oh wait, she's in here. I did not know that.
You would write more specific details regarding your mom, or you could even put the same thing. So she can be like encouraging.
Fun spirited.
There we go. Okay. So that's one form of brainstorming. We also have what's called. You guys got that? Do any of you guys use this kind of stuff when you write essays? Okay. I don't really use this.
I think that's easier.
I just start writing.
Yeah.
I used to be like that. I just start writing. The last technique that I'm gonna show you guys is the one that I kind of use now, and it works the best for me. So I'll show you guys that one in a little bit. But so this is the first one. Simple notes and charts. Kind of just like keeps your head in the game and makes sure you realize what it is that you want to write about. So it makes it a little bit easier, the essay writing process easier, because you don't have to be losing yourself as you keep writing. The only thing about writing without mapping out anything is that sometimes you run out of ideas and you start going off topic. You start writing about things that really don't matter.
2 hours to do an essay.
It takes you 2 hours?
Yeah.
Like when you write in the Casey? Or in general?
Well, in the Casey, like, I never finished it. Like, I got kicked out after. Like,
Okay.
in the middle of the thing.
So that's probably one of the reasons why, because you ran out of time. So maybe this is going to help you. I hope it does. I think it will.
I'm full
Okay.
of ideas.
What's that?
I'm full of ideas.
Exactly. So but the thing is that when you set when you make an outline or you make something along those lines to write down your ideas, it's going to help you to have them written down, because you can limit them. You know how we wrote encouraging, loving, caring, fun spirited. We wrote entertainer, and also all those sorts of things.
You could make each topic a paragraph.
Exactly. So you can make each topic a paragraph, but if you see the way I do it, and this is just like my little hint that you could use. So you know how we use encouraging, we use entertainer, and we use outgoing, and we use loving, and we use caring, and fun-spirited, right? If you see that your paragraphs are too small, combine two ideas together and put them in one paragraph. Just make sure that they're somewhat relevant, they're somewhat related. So she's caring and loving. Put both those ideas in one paragraph. So that way your paragraph can be a little bit longer. Right?
Yeah.
Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
That's a little technique that I use. It makes things a little bit simpler for me when I write.
But those two things are the same.
Caring and loving? No. Caring is you actually care. Loving is just like, oh. But caring is like, I really care about what you do. See, Jocelyn, for example, I really care about what you do. But am I loving? Exactly. Is it the difference? Okay.
In that case, yeah.
In that case, yes. But maybe for you, your mom is caring and loving, so it's kind of like interrelated to a certain extreme. All right, so the next technique is clustering. Which basically is kind of the same thing. You would write mom here, and then you branch out your ideas. Typically, if you feel like you have enough time, which I don't recommend because it really is kind of pointless, you don't need to be writing specific details in like on the side here, which is what I used to do, but that's only when I have a lot of time on my hands, which in reality, not, you don't. So, again, fun, loving, outgoing, etc., etc. So, as Rodolfo had mentioned earlier, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, right? Okay. So you can also number them in order to give your essay a certain structure. So it's mom. Maybe what's the most important of these 3, for example? Which one do you think is the most important of her characteristics that you want to explain or talk about?
Outgoing.
Outgoing? So maybe do you think that the most important should go in the beginning or at the end?
In the,
The end?
in the beginning.
Okay, that's where everyone has a different thought process.
Because shouldn't the introduction be the strong, like you gotta go forward?
Yeah, but in introduction, you can say briefly, which we're going to talk about specifically what you put in each paragraph next class. But this one is just to organize your thoughts. So in the introduction, you would specify that you're going to be talking about your mom. You're going to be talking about...
She is outgoing and loving.
Yes, outgoing, loving, and fun. typically, if I list them in that way, I would describe them in that way. So if I say, my mother is not only outgoing, she is also loving and fun. So my first paragraph would be she's outgoing, second is loving, third is fun. Not because I think it's in any particular, ranking, like this one's better than that one, but because I've introduced it as such and I'm going to explain it as such. So that way it kind of just like falls together. Make sense?
Yeah.
Alright, so after that, you have my favorite. Do you guys have any questions on this? This is pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Again, just to organize your thoughts. Make sure to keep them organized. It'll keep you on task. A lot of the time, and I used to have this trouble a lot in high school, a lot, I would always get off topic. Always. Because I always just start thinking about other things and it's just like not even important. So these kinds of techniques really do help. So the third one is, as I mentioned, a little outlining. Do you guys use this one at all? No? Okay. So this one, if you guys decide to go to college, if you guys decide to further your education, this is my favorite one. It keeps you really well organized. So, in this one you focus more specifically on what you're going to. So, we have intro, then you have what? Body.
Body and conclusion.
So body, paragraph. Typically, do you guys write 3-paragraph essays or 5?
3, 5.
5?
Why you should write 5 in one?
Yeah. So typically, you write 5. Are you going to sit in or are you going to distract?
I forgot to totally come in yesterday about that test. Can I take a nap?
No.
No?
It's 10:30.
Till 10:30?
Yes, sir. Come back later.
I'll just sit here and learn.
Okay. So, we have the introduction. What are we going to introduce?
What the 3 things I am going to be talking about.
Fun, creative, I think.
But I was told that you can't start looking like that. Like I am.
No, I don't. No, I'm writing that because this is not your essay. This is just to outline it. This is just to be like, okay, make sure to talk about her being fun, her being outgoing, and what was the other one?
I have another question.
Loving?
Can you start your introduction with a question?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because if you started with a question, what is that? Your attention getter, right? Mothers, can mothers be categorized as blah, 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 blah? That's your question. It's intriguing. It makes the person interested in what you're about to write, right? Okay, so again, as you guys were mentioning, you're going to briefly touch on the fact that you're going to be mentioning her being outgoing, fun, and loving.
But you could start also with a poem about mothers.
You can, maybe just like one quotation or one citation, not something too long or extensive, something very small. Because, and that's a really good, nice way of starting up something, but I mean, just make sure it's relevant to what you're talking about, right? You don't want to be like, huh, why did that person use that if it makes no sense, right?
Well, that's where his thought process is different from everybody else.
Okay. So then, also the way you can organize this, because this is, if we were to do, for example, body paragraph 1, 2, and 3, we could do fun, as we were mentioning, outgoing, and loving. But that's a very simple and very easy, I guess, way of writing an essay. Because you're introducing 3 ideas, and that's it. However, when you get to a little bit more advanced writing, you can also say she's fun, outgoing, loving, and this has been a part of every stage of my life, for example. That's a little bit more detailed, right? It's deeper, as you said.
Like,
So
why is she fun? And what did she do that's fun? Like stuff like that?
Yeah, well, you would have to explain that. So who, oops. Well, the 5 W's, right?
Yeah.
So just make sure to like kind of touch on that. So in here, put your 5 W's. And what's the other one?
Who?
Who, what, when, where, why, and how.
How.
H. 1H. Okay. And then on the conclusion, what would you write?
You have to write a game with like what you wrote.
Yeah, it's kind of just like,
Yeah, like repeating.
yeah, so in the conclusion, you kind of briefly say like, so you don't say verbatim what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is you say, I talked about how my mother is this, this, and this, and this. Conclude on how specifically it's impacted you. And that's kind of it,
Yeah.
right? So the intro, the body, the conclusion, the reason why I like outlining is because it keeps it to the point, right? Fun, outgoing, loving. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Keeps it on point. It doesn't let you digress in any way. Do you guys have any questions? No? All right, so this is a very short class, you guys, because this is, again, it's just brainstorming. For the rest, just for like 5 minutes, I want you guys to come up with your own outline or cluster or brainstorming, the notes or the chart. Come up with one for a particular person for you. Jocelyn, since we already did mom, I kind of don't want you to do mom. Try and choose someone else. I'm going to go over them before you guys leave. It's very small, very simple. Shouldn't take you very long, okay? But try and focus on something or someone that you do want to write about because that's the person you're going to be writing about for the remainder of the courses, okay? Shouldn't take too long. I'll give you guys 5 minutes to do that. Do you guys have any questions? No? All right, so go ahead and do that. Do you guys need this? Yes. I'm gonna throw it at you.
Thanks.
Mhm.
So this is like a brainstorming.
Yes. A lot of you guys like the cluster, huh? The circles?
Oh man, I just it's easy.
You guys are visual learners. Yeah, 5 paragraphs. If you